In the 3rd century, there were many interesting emperors of all sorts and colors. A certain Philip the Arab managed to become an emperor, who some considered to be the first Christian emperor. So was Philip an Arab? Was he a Christian? What was he doing there on the throne? Let's explore that in this post. Philip was indeed an Arab, both by nationality and place of birth. He was born in Shaba, later Philippopolis, in the south of what is now Syria. Everyone in the family was a Roman citizen, and judging by the full name, Marcus Julius Philip, citizenship had been held for several generations for sure. The father was either an outlaw, a horseman, the head of the local community, or maybe all at once. Philip's older brother Priscus was the first to do well in the civil service and apparently helped his brother in his career advancement. And the latter in the 3rd century was the best. Everywhere chaos and everywhere need competent, loyal people. During the campaign against the Persians of Emperor Gordian III, Philip was appointed prefect of the Praetorium, commander of the Praetorian Guard, with additional bonuses. There is an opinion that Philip was able to hold the post because he poisoned his predecessor. But history is silent. Also silent is Philip's role in Emperor Gordian's untimely death. Either Gordian died a brave death in battle, or he was killed in cold blood by his own, with Philip at the head. Neither of these is fantastic for that time, and Philip could well be the very player of thrones who banally poisoned his rivals. Anyway, Philip reports about Gordian's death from illness to the Senate, suggesting them to choose the next emperor. Naturally, there is Philip's candidacy, but there are 2 other alternative candidates. Both unsuccessful candidates suddenly die, and Philip is unanimously chosen as the new emperor, a true triumph of democracy. Already Emperor Philip makes peace with the Persians on the condition that all will get rid of each other, and Rome will pay a round sum to the barbarians. The next round sums from the treasury went on gifts to senators. Well, and it is impossible to leave people without games and spectacles on Millennium of Rome, so also on it have gone round sums. Rome met the millennium exuberantly, gladiatorial fights, songs, and dances. Here, by the way, we will clarify the question of Philip's Christianity. Was it or was not? The festivals in Rome were of an exclusively pagan character. No contemporary wrote about Philip's Christianity. So why would he be a Christian then? The legs grow from the works of Eusebius of Caesarea, who, under the Vulture there is such an account, painted how the emperor, say, wanted to pray in the pre-Easter night in the church. Convincing? No, of course not. But Philip could not have been ignorant of Christians. He himself was from the East, where there were already plenty of Christian communities, and the state under him did not oppress Christians much. Perhaps that's why they decided to include him in their ranks, although in the last years of his reign, the authorities were not interested at all when an angry mob pogromed Christians in Alexandria. Returning to the festivities, it would be adequate to ask, did they spend too much? Indeed, Philip spent a lot, and he spent for a purpose, to be recognized as his own. You can be a Praetorian prefect, you can be a citizen, you can even be an emperor. But to the Romans you are just an Arab, an imitation of a civilized man. And Philip didn't want to be that. He wanted to be at the center of everything traditionally Roman, festivities, jubilee coins, and prosperity. And he failed. A little digression. Philip, like some Romans before him, began to break up the territory of the Roman state into separate units for ease of administration. To his brother Priscus he entrusted part of the east and a certain Severian, Moesia, with Macedonia. Also, in order to recoup round sums for all good things, Philip began to bully taxes heavily and everywhere. The first rebelled in Asia Minor, and, characteristically, with the rebels even no one and not dealt with. The head of the leader was brought to the next emperor. Next, according to tradition, there is usurpation. Severian in the Balkans was replaced by a certain Pacatian, again by decree of the emperor. So this same Pacatian betrayed Philip almost from the first day in office, proclaimed himself emperor, and began to mint his own coin. To save the situation, Philip sent Decius Trajan, a native of the Danube suburbs and quite capable commander. Discipline in the army was restored, Pacatian was sent into oblivion, and the soldiers proclaimed Decius emperor. Isn't that wonderful? Decius wags his tail, either exhorting or cajoling the emperor, but eventually defeats Philip at Verona. Everyone turned their backs on Philip. The Senate, most of the army, and the people too. Nobody cared enough. Philip's family was also killed, though not cursed forever and ever, and after him, the next Arab emperor of Syria and Egypt will be Gamal Abdel Nasser,